Hi guys, welcome to another PS Pro tutorial. In today's tutorial we're going to start looking at layers and something specifically called layer styles. So in the last tutorial we looked at layers and what layers are and how by putting your different artwork on individual layers you can restructure them, reorder them and lower things like the opacity. But there's another cool feature that enables us to do specific styles on a individual layer. Now I'm not going to talk loads about this because I'm a big believer that so many people get Photoshop wrong because they just start plastering horrible layer styles and it makes their images look really awful and really tacky. But it's an important thing to get to know. I am going to go through layers or layer styles in more advanced ways as I create more tutorials about the different effects that you can do with the kind of things to really enhance what you're doing. But I thought it'd be good just to shoot a quick video just to explain to you what they are and how they work. So I'm just going to use this logo as the subject, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on the actual layer itself and it opens up this layer style palette. I can head on down here and choose effects, and I've got a selection of various layer styles here, and depending on whatever I choose it will basically add or enhance the actual layer it's on by putting a few little effects on it. So I'm just going to jump in and click Bevel and Emboss, so you can see it's Bevel and Emboss has just put a little 3D element on it. Now I think that looks really nasty and so many people just leave their kind of logos just like that, but you can, each one opens up various attributes which you can play around with. So in this case you can make it go up or down, you can soften it, and you can play around with the sizes, and there's a ton of different kind of shading effects and different levels of shading that you can do. And you can do obviously contour, where you can basically choose different shapes of the different if you imagine what you're doing is you're giving it a 3D effect, so depending on the actual shape of the 3D effect you've got lots of different variants here, and you can also load up new and unique ones, and you can also add textures and everything to the actual shape and the actual layer. So that's Bevel and Emboss. You can also do things such as add strokes. Now I've got it set to black at the moment, so I'm going to have to change it to white. And you can there click OK, and you can play around with different sizes. Now that's obviously real nasty, but you can make it just give basically like you would using strokes, and on the pen tool which you've already spoken about you can give little stroke layers. Again, you've got some more aspects there. You can do things such as inner shadows, and you can obviously again play around with the different factors. Now here's a cool little tip. Once you've got a kind of nice amount of size you want, if you click on the palette you can then move it around and just put it manually, so you can make the logo there just look a little bit like it's going into the actual page. You've also got inner glow, which just does what it says on the tin. It gives it a little kind of glow effect. So if I change that to a more kind of bolder yellow, click OK, and you can again play around with the sizes and things. So depending on the size of the artwork you can see that the text is quite small to really pick up on it, but in the squares here you can start seeing the kind of little things you can do. So you can change the colours, change again the contour of the kind of inner glows. You can add satin effects, you can do block colour overlays. So if you want to just change the colour very quickly, you can start just basically selecting the whole of the layer and doing little things like that. You've also got the gradient overlays. Again, you can move it around by selecting and dragging the layers, and like we've already looked at the gradient tool, you can start applying different gradients on just to get different effects. So really I'm not going to go, as I said, in too much detail of the layer styles just straight off the bat. I think it's just a great way of, if you've got something in mind and you want to make small minor tweaks, you'll just choose very specific layer styles to do different kind of effects. Now one of my favourite ones is the outer glow, and it's always nice to pick a colour from the actual image that you're working on, and you can just make it, you know, give little nice effects like that. And of course what this does, as opposed to painting a little glow like that behind it with the brush, it just keeps it on the same layer, so wherever you move that layer you can make sure that it's intact, and you don't have to start making surplus layers and groups and making your palette a lot more complex. So I'm just going to turn that off for now, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a new layer on and just show you the final one for the purpose of this short introductory tutorial, and show you the kind of things that you'd use it for. So if you've got the logo, and obviously now you've got the white, so as a quick fix I'm just going to do a color overlay, choose the similar blue to what we have for the PS Pro, so you can start seeing that way. You can quickly manipulate things, and then you can use things such as a drop shadow, which makes it looks like it's lifting it off the page a little bit, and again you can just subtly move it around, play around with things like the opacity, just to give it that different kind of effect. Now that's going to work on black as well. Obviously you're not going to see the drop shadow, so that's layer styles. Lots of little things you can do. Really, don't just use layer styles for the sake of using layer styles. Always have an idea in mind of what you want to use a layer style for, and you can make a nice set of cool effects. So hopefully guys you've enjoyed this really quick introductory tutorial on layer styles. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon.